So let's get back to the show. This is Success Profiles Radio on the Rockstar Radio Network. And here again is your host, Brian K. Wright.
And we are back. This is Success Profiles Radio. My very special guest this week is Darrell Hornbacher, who's written a book called Kitchen Table Credit. We are talking about all things relating to business credit and also personal credit. If you do have a question for Darrell and you would like to talk about anything relating to credit, here's the call-in number. It's 866-404-6519. Once again, that's 866-404-6519. So, Darrell, I'd like to ask you, I hear from small business owners quite a lot that they're not able to get money, yet you say that there's a whole bunch of it out there. Explain that if you could.
The banks don't make money unless they lend, and contrary to what you hear in the press, and contrary to the political parties arguing back and forth and posturing for their own purposes, banks have to loan money to make money, and they are loaning it at incredible rates, and they are doing it like they never have been before. It's just there's regulation that comes along with it. Now, when I say you have to be qualified to get money, but you can still get money if you have a low credit score, you have to look at all the different products. Right now, there's probably 40 different loan products out there, each with a different set of qualifying criteria. Anything from traditional loans and lines of credit to SBA products to equipment leasing to private equity money and on and on and on. There are so many products out there. You just have to be able to walk through the maze and figure it out, because it definitely is a maze.
Okay. So it sounds like the people who have applied for credit and have not gotten it probably have made a lot of mistakes, whether it's in the application process, whether it's in the documentation. Let's talk a little bit about some of the most common mistakes that small business owners that they make when they're going after capital.
They're not prepared is probably the biggest mistake. If you go into a lender and say, I want to fill out an application and I want to hand you a shoebox full of receipts or paperwork, and you figure it out, guess what? That lender is not going to give you the time of day. Whereas if you've done your homework, in the first book that I wrote, The Midas Guide to Credit and Business Funding, the whole book is about how to prepare a loan package and take it to the bank, and what the 17 different things are that a banker looks for. And if you go through and do all the work for them, they're going to be much more amenable to helping you, to guiding you, to getting you in front of their loan committee, and ultimately getting an approval.
Okay. Are there other mistakes that are pretty common besides not being properly prepared? I mean, I can totally understand.
No. The second probably is not having numbers, or if it's a startup, having overinflated numbers. Here's the thing. Again, we go back to what we talked about a few minutes ago, the adversarial relationship, which just shouldn't be there. And if you walk into a bank and let's just say you don't tell the truth. Bankers see thousands and thousands of deals a year, and they can smell this stuff out really, really easily. Go in, be realistic, tell the truth, and be humble in the fact that, hey, I need your help. I have the next best idea since sliced bread, but I need you to help me to get it to market via money. And they will help you. They need to help you. They want to help you. It's how they get paid.
That's a really good point. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if you watch the TV show Shark Tank, but that is a great example of all the stuff you're talking about. I mean, if you want to ask somebody for a lot of money, if you watch that show, you will find out real quick what turns them on and what turns them off. And it sounds exactly like some of the things that you've been talking about today. We do have a caller. Andrew, are you there?
I am here. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate that. Hi, Darrell. How are you? Darrell, I was looking through your stuff. Can you tell the callers a little bit more about your small biz college? And also, if you're a new business, right, and they work directly with you, what's the least amount of time for them to really establish some good business credit?
Okay, twofold.
Yeah, go ahead.
Small Biz College is a website that we put together about 5 years ago that is something where people, and it's free to join. I don't spend as much time on it as I should, but basically what we did is took a whole bunch of online research directories and put them in one spot so a small business owner would have one place where they can go to and find information on how to run a successful and a streamlined business, whether it be where to get the best phone rates to how to get legal documents for free and on and on. I think there's like 30 different categories. So that's that. As far as the business credit goes, it's a very intricate process, but we can get it done in as early as 3 months. We're guaranteeing, and we are finding right around $50,000 for people on average in a 90-day period, and that's without using their Social Security number or a personal guarantee.
Now, is that full service, or is that, hey, you do your work yourself?
It's a combination of both. There's certain things that I cannot do for you. By law, I can't go out and use your name to open up a credit account. That's illegal and immoral in my mind. So, yeah, it does become an interactive process when it comes to things like that. But for the most part, the system is very streamlined and goes very quickly.
So if somebody were looking for business credit and they went through you wouldn't just like have them pay for it and then just leave them high and dry. You actually walk through the process with them. Would that be right?
That would be a fair statement, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay. Thank you, Brian.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Andrew. And I do want to thank Andrew for connecting Darrell and I together so that we could have this interview today. Darrell knows both of us, and he saw Darrell as a great potential guest, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this hour. This is a really fantastic topic that is so important and needs this type of discussion. So I'm so glad you're here, Darrell.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about something that we did talk about in the last segment but really didn't have a chance to explore very much. We talked about how the credit industry conspires to keep us in credit prison. Can you talk about that and explain what do you mean by that?
Absolutely. The nameless credit bureaus, but you all can figure out who they are, have a vested interest in you having bad credit. They enjoy revenue of about $145 per person annually if you have a credit score below 640. If you have a credit score of 700 or above, which is typically what you need to get a decent interest rate on a mortgage or a car or a school loan or whatever, they make only about $80, so just a little bit over half of that. So they have a vested interest in you having bad credit. They say, and how they get this money or how they generate this revenue is they sell your information. If you get a Capital One application in the mail that you didn't ask for, or one of the banks or insurance product, all of those mailings come from lists that were purchased from the credit bureaus. And the credit bureaus have decided that if you have bad credit, that you're in a more tenable position, let's say, and you're willing to spend more money to buy yourself out of whatever trouble you're in. So they think that list is worth more money. And bottom line is, the worse your credit, the more money they make on you. And it really should be exactly the opposite. I mean, this is a country that was founded on different principles than that, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So that leads me to another really important question. If the credit industry is conspiring to keep us in credit prison, it also means that they are keeping our scores intentionally low. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay. And that can run into a lot of different problems, such as things on our credit reports that are actually incorrect, or resolved accounts that are still reported as unresolved accounts. So let me ask, you talk about, in your book, you talk about credit repair. I'd like to ask you, does it work, and how can someone get started doing that? And we have less than 2 minutes
It
to our
absolutely
next
works,
break.
and there are many full-service companies out there. I run a full-service company, but I charge somebody $1,000 to fix their credit. There are 20,000 credit repair companies in this country, and a fraction of them are legitimate, and the rest of them are backroom boiler operations, hence the double black eye reputation that credit people like myself have. And as a consumer, you need to be very careful of that. I wrote Kitchen Table Credit specifically for 2 reasons. Three reasons. Number one, the cost is if you have credit problems, odds are you don't have $1,000 to spend. Number 2, embarrassment. You don't want mom and dad or your neighbors or your in-laws or whoever, knowing what's going on and knowing what you're doing. So people tend to not get into credit repair simply because of the embarrassment.
Okay. Well, we do have less than a minute to our next break. I would assume that it is possible for people to take steps to fix their credit themselves. Is that right?
Absolutely, and I'd love to tell people how to do it.
Great. We will definitely do that in our next segment. We are talking with Darrell Hornbacher, who is an expert, one of the leading experts in the country on business credit and personal credit, and helping businesses and helping people find money for the things that they need to do. We will continue this discussion right after the next break. We'll be right back on the other side. This is Success Profiles Radio. Please stay with us, and I'll tell you how to call in to participate in our discussion right after the break. Stay with us.